You lost everything and you went depressed. Did vulnerability open you up to new belief systems?
I've always believed in God, and I've always had an inkling of spirituality. My mum is very much into the revolution, into anti-governments.
Okay.
So I kind of had that side, the Illuminati, she was going down all the rabbit holes and stuff. So, but I had my grandma who Christian, so she tried all religions. She suffered a lot of trauma being younger, but anyway, she tried a lot of different religions, found Christianity. She wasn't a Christian, but she felt the most comfortable with the church. So it was always in my life. Vulnerability, I'd say, yeah, because I started to be really honest with myself. For the first time, I started to really speak about my emotion and my problems and not feel embarrassed about it. I'm not trying to look good. I'm not trying to be the alpha male, surrendering to Creator, surrendering and saying, well, where we're going.
When you surrender to the Creator, what image or vision do you have in your head as this Creator that you're surrendering to?
So the story of my awakening, we all go through awakenings in our life. We're always getting woke up to new information every day. New things are coming in, from a young boy to a teenager to an adult. We're always getting different awakenings. I'm having an awakening on this podcast with you because I'm hearing new information. So I'm
waking
up to other things that I didn't know about, and I'm vulnerable enough and honest to always be a man, to always be learning and always being teaching and always trying to be a better man. So at that time, I was doing the nightclubs and I'd get into after parties and I'd just meet certain people, probably even like yourself if I would have met you in an after party.
Thank you.
You just click with someone and you're like, boom, yes, what's going on? How was the night? Boom, boom. And then you started getting proper deep into conversations that no one else will really be interested in. But you just sit in the kitchen side with someone and you just boom, and you just going off all night, bro, just chatting away. You're just like, right, where's the time gone? The sun's coming up. Everyone's like, why are you enjoying the party? Because you're just like, we're just locked into a conversation over here.
Were any drugs involved in?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was getting on it. And yeah, but I'd meet certain people on the way and they'd spark something in me. And I'd be like, and I'd kind of look back at the clubs and the stuff and the things people were speaking about. And I'd think, there's more to life than this, And I call them angels. They just come into my life, boom, and they'd spark something in you, And it was a kind of a, remember who you are. Remember, don't lose your roots. Remember who you are. And that was just along the way. I was getting little awakenings. And then I always say the universe, God, Creator, whatever, he whispers to you, first of all, if there's something he wants you to do. He whispers, gives you a little bit of guidance, and then he expects your own wisdom to go, yeah, this is the right path. And if you don't listen, then he'll start to, raise his voice a little bit more to you. So it might happen, you might feel a bit of more feeling in your body, of intuition coming through from him. And then if you don't listen to that, then it shouts, boom, something happens in your life. Boom, something traumatic comes in, boom, you're not listening. Boom, listen. So, so that was a kind of time in my life where I got led to a festival. I took a lot of LSD at this festival. LSD alters your consciousness. I've done studies with it. I've done studies in the brain with it. But it opens up a part of your brain. It crystallizes in your liver for life, so it don't come out your liver.
Damn.
Steve Jobs took it, and these certain, if you go close protection for the government, or you get to certain levels in the forces, like a sergeant major, they don't let you have the job because they know your mind can't be controlled. So they test you for this substance, and if it's in your body, you can't have certain
LSD.
Jobs. LSD, yeah.
Your mind can't be controlled.
So it opens up a part of your brain what doesn't want to conform to things that you don't feel are right to you. So it's harder for your brain to be controlled when you're in these situations because it's quite free thinking mind. Your mind thinks quite freely and openly.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, so I took the thing, bro. I was at the festival, boom, dancing, all the forest, and what we said before with the green, when I said the green colour,
Oh, yeah.
all the forest went emerald green, you know.
Emerald green.
Emerald green.
That's funny.
And
You know why I say that's funny?
go on.
Emerald green is the colour of God's throne.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't
Learning
know that,
something
bro.
new every day.
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
And it's the colour of your heart chakra as well. You know, so, you know, the heart and God's throne, you know, seem like a simultaneous place to be and live in, and a representation of, you know. So, yeah, I had this energy that was come over me, boom. And I thought, you know what, I'm having an amazing night. I've come away from the clubs. The clubs were getting really repetitive, you know, and I was kind of getting to the point inside of me. I thought, I don't want to be here. And I felt trapped. I felt like I have certain people that I have to keep going back to the club for. Certain people are like expecting me to do these nights, put the music on, be in the after parties, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So I was people pleasing, you know, but at the time I was kidding myself that I had to be there and I had to do this stuff, and I've got this reputation to do it, and who else would I be without this? So there's all these thoughts going on and all these things that I'm contemplating. Anyway, got guided to this festival. When I took this thing, coincidentally, it was a guy gave it me, one of my friends, dressed as a mad heart. So boom, I've gone on this journey, bro.
When you say a journey, you mean a trip?
Gone on a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, altered state of consciousness. And I remember getting sucked into my body. So something was pulling my body downwards. So at the time, boom, put my hood up, put my glasses on, put my back against the tree. And I just thought, I'm just having a bit of a bad experience. It too shall pass. Boom, just breathe. Boom, connect to your heart. Boom, just push anything else away. And then, you know, it's going to go. It's just going to pass. It passed. Started to panic. And then I got sucked into my body. So I can see a reality going. Reality is going. So it's becoming a pixel of where reality is. So I know now we're going into the astral realm, astral traveling. So him coming into my body, then shitting myself.
That you, yeah?
No, it's not me, that, bro. I think it's that.
Swim.
So, yeah, I was getting sucked into downwards. And then I thought to myself, I was like, wow, what's going on? So, part of me just started to surrender to it. I thought, I'm going on our journey. I just surrender to where I'm going. And then part of me started to go, you're dying. You're about to let go of your life. So I was just like, Ras. And then I was just like, no, last minute. So I was like, no. So I started fighting back. But as I was fighting outside of me as well. I was like, you know, trying to get back into my body. And then I just collapsed. Got took to the ambulance people. And cut a long story short, bro, I went in. I met a lot of ancestors there. Inside. So on this trip, on this journey, met a lot of ancestors.
How so? How are they ancestors? Like
So that's what they represented to me.
So you don't have to ancestors, you just...
So this is what I'm getting to now. So they represent like ancestors inside of me. So they had a red tribe and a black tribe. Okay. So I felt like the ancestors was like arguing with each other. One was saying he's going to wake up. One was saying he's not. It's too late. So this is going on. But now I realise that everything is symbology. So when you're going into these trips, and this is even when you go into the rainforest and you start to work with certain medicines, what the medicine does, it symbolises what's inside of you and shows it outside of you. So that's how it talks to you. That's how it gives you messages. That's how it gives you guidance. So it was saying inside of me, part of me was already knowing that I was going to stop the partying. my part of me already knew that, but part of me was trying to hang on to it. But it's shown me outside of me through an ancestral way, which for me is the deepest calling, is our ancestors inside of us saying, wake the fuck up, what you're doing yourself. You need to sort yourself out. This isn't your path. This isn't where you're meant to be going. So
ancestors inside you, like, how so?
So I feel that all our ancestors live inside of us, bro. Literally, science proves that DNA is passed on. Certain patterns are passed on as well through our DNA. You know?
But when you say ancestors, like, which ancestors? Because, like, when you start going down that rabbit hole there, it can get confusing. Because when you say ancestors, I'm like, okay, I was speaking of, you know, my father's dad, my father's granddad, my father's great-granddad, my father's great-granddad's granddad. But then what you got to remember is that my father's dad had a grandfather.
Yeah.
His dad also had a grandfather. His uncle. Do you know what I mean? So when you say ancestors, you're like, you know, who are we speaking of? And then, do you know what I mean?
The wisdom that all your ancestors have learned, that you're connecting to, that source, that every life that's lived before you, all their lessons, all their wisdom, everything that they've learned that have passed on to you, which lives inside of you now.
Really?
Of course it does.
Why have we got so many unanswered questions? I mean, before you said who built the pyramids. Surely your ancestors can tell you.
So, for me, the Anunnaki built the pyramids.
So, who were the Anunnaki?
So, Anunnaki stands for gods from the sky.
Gods from the sky?
God stands for gods from the sky, but there's false gods. So these gods that come to the earth, humans started to...
Where did you learn that word from?
Anunnaki.
Yeah.
So this is from a lot of the research that I've done online. And
where did that word come from?
It comes from the Emerald Tablets from ancient Sumeria.
Sumerian?
Yeah.
Huh?
So these beings that come, in my knowing, to the earth, they didn't feed from food. They fed from energy, which is still feed from energy to this day, which we can go into a bit later on. They went into the pyramids that are perfectly aligned with the stars, and they have gold at the top, and they built on all the chambers underneath, and the copper is to connect to the earth because they're conductors of electricity.
I know that.
So these beings would go in to feed from the electricity, the energy from the Earth's electromagnetics and the stars. This is how they will rejuvenate their energy. So they come to Earth to mine for the gold.
I've heard this story before. About the, you know, these Anunnaki beings that came here from Nibiru, if you want to believe that. And then obviously they wanted to harvest all the gold, and then, you know, they engineered the human race, if you want to believe that, and we were slaves just, you know, harvesting gold for them and so forth. I don't believe it, but...
We could never be slaves, bro, because God gave us free will. So before leading any kind of group practices, I'd do a lot of my own work. So I'd clear a lot of my own stuff. I'd sit in my own emotions. I'd clear these. You know, I had pains in my knees, in my back, in my hips. You know, things were physically, because I emotionally wasn't dealing with things. Things were emotionally, physically manifested in my body. So this is your body speaking to you, you know, saying, you know, you need to have a look at something inside of you that needs to be addressed. Your
body was speaking to you.
Yeah, so when you get any ache or pain in your body, you know, that's emotionally for me. When things, as within, so without, you know, so your body starts to communicate. You might have a left shoulder in your you know, your left side is your feminine side, and your right side is your masculine side. You know, in the ancient Egyptians, you know, these are the things that I also work with. Now, when these are in your body, things to do with your mother, things to do with your father, you know, and when you start to get, for example, lower back pains, it's because you don't feel supported in your life, or you're not feeling supported. When you start to feel pains in your shoulders, it's because you're carrying problems, you're carrying a burden in your life. You know, so these are things where your body will start to communicate, and you can start to ask questions around these things, around where the body's hurting, and start to ask them questions about what's going on in their life. are you carrying any problems? Do you feel like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders? Do you feel supported in your life? You know, if you've got problems in your knees, it can be when you are on a standpoint, you're quite rigid, you know, or you feel stuck. You know, so then your knees will say energetically, we're going to start to bring some awareness to that, to have a look at it. So people start to get aches and pains in their body, and the body's communicating with them in different ways. You know, and people that aren't in awareness of this just may think, oh, I've just banged my knee, or I'm just going to the gym and I've hurt my shoulder, you know, or I'm not sitting straight, I need to sit up straight. But there's a lot of different ways that you can speak to someone. What we have helped and healed people will help them heal the self, you know, about asking them questions and guiding them to the right practices and guiding them to the right supplements or foods, you know.
So I'm suffering with lower back pain. Go to the gym quite a lot. I'm suffering with lower back pain. Maybe a pain in my shoulders. I've been training on my shoulders quite a lot. And then I come to you and you're like, oh, I just come to your group. I don't come to you because of my pains. I come to your group. And then you're talking and saying, you know, are you feeling any pains in your lower back? Yeah. These are the reasons why. Your shoulders, maybe your knees. My knees have been clicking too, but I'm 40 now and I'm training in the gym heavy and that, so, you know, things happen. But like you're saying, you know, yeah, this is what this is about, the pains in your knees and the lower back pain. And it's like, oh yeah. And then it's like, okay, it's kind of like indoctrinating people because it's like,
I'm not saying this is what this is about.
No. But
so I've trained in counseling as well. So I will ask questions to people to lead them to their own answers.
But here's the thing though, right? Yeah. Like, we're living in a time now where, you know, life is more difficult than ever. Do you know what I mean? The cost of living is ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
Stress levels are at a peak, mental health is at a peak, right? So nearly, you know, 95% of people are walking around with problems. So, you know, I've got pains in my knees and my lower back and my shoulders from the gym all the time that I'm doing. I'm in the gym every day, you know what I mean? Which another thing that people shouldn't do, but we're in the gym every day, you know what I mean? And then, you know, I've got the stresses of life that I'm talking about to you, and everyone has their own little internal things going on besides the, you know, the traditional stuff. And then, you know, you're having a talk at your group and you're talking about, you know, let's have a talk of what's going on in your life, stresses and that, like, and I'm going to tell you, I got stresses in my life. Yeah. Because we all do. And you're going to be like, yeah, the low pain in your lower back. Yes. Because of that. And in your shoulders, because you're carrying all this, burden still. It's just like,
I didn't say that, bro.
I didn't say you did, but I'm saying it's very easy.
I said, this is where the energy can be coming from.
Well,
so
it could not be though. It could be a case of like, I've hurt my knees in the gym on my back and that.
This is why we ask questions.
But yeah, but you're saying to you, like, you're saying like it could be. But saying that though, it could be. It's like, okay, it's opening the question of, it could be. So it could, or it might not be.
Where do you think cancers come from?
Cancers are completely different from what we're speaking of. Cancers come from foods and all kind of stuff that we put into our bodies. What I'm talking about here, bro, is me going to the gym, having pains in my body and my muscles and that from the gym, coming to your session, you speaking to me about my life, and I'm saying like, yeah, I'm stressed out, been a lot of things going on. 4 family members that just died in the past year, and then you go like, yeah, you carry a lot of burden.
So it's like, what emotion are you feeling from that, I'd say?
But bro, emotion that I'm feeling, a lot of emotion, like 4 of my family members that just died. I've lost my business, I've lost my job.
So what emotion are you feeling from that?
Right, but what's that emotion got to do with the pains in my shoulders and my knees from the gym?
Because emotionally, energy in motion. Emotion is the manifestation of a physical pain, bro. You know, when it's not addressed.
Okay, cool. What I'm saying to you now, yeah, that I've got pains from the gym.
Yeah, so I'll say, okay, if you're really concerned about the pains in your shoulders.
I'm not concerned.
No, I'm just saying this as an example.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, like, I've not come to you with concern. I've come to a talking. No, mate, I might come to your group for the first time right now.
Yeah.
Right, and then, you know, you're having a talk, and then you start talking to me now, meet and greet.
Well, I mean, I don't do talks.